Welcome back. The Editors Forum of Namibia, EFN, hosted the Journalism Awards last week, Thursday. Now, the awards recognized journalists for their outstanding work throughout 2021 and 2022. Journalists were recognized in the fields of politics and public governance, agriculture, environment, forestry and fisheries, education, health and social development, energy, visual storytelling, as well as sports. Now, business and investigative journalist Lazarus Amukeshe scooped the Journalist of the Year award at the 2023 EFN Journalism Awards. He now joins us via Zoom to share more on his win. Good evening, Lazarus, and welcome to the show.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
Well, first of all, Lazarus, congratulations on being named the Journalist of the Year. Can you just tell us how does it feel to receive this award, and what does it mean to you both personally and professionally?
Thank you so much for the congratulatory message. It feels great. I think with every win, obviously, it's a lovely feeling. I'm super grateful to all who have contributed to this. And I think, all in all, I think professionally, and in my career, I think it's a boost, firstly, and also a boost to confidence, I think, in relation to ensuring that the quality or the output that you put out gets recognized. So I think at that point, I think I'm super grateful that there was that deciding committee that really saw fit that our work was deserved a win. And obviously, all things are made possible by God. So all thanks to the Almighty as well. All the wisdom and knowledge that we have comes from Him. So, yeah.
Well, Lazarus, we are all ears to find out what inspired you to become a journalist, and talk to us about your journey as a journalist.
I joined journalism in 2018, towards the end, sometime in September. When I'm coming from corporate, I'm an accountant by training, did tax as well. So my desire to join journalism was really to try and explain your common financial terms, common financial stories to ideally every possible person that would like to consume finance and business news. So that's really where I joined, and so there was a little bit of a gap there. So I was like, well, let me jump in here and try and see if I can find footing and really see if I can add value to the media industry. And I think there on, obviously you go through the ropes, the training on how to put out the solid story. We've gone through the hopes. I've been with the Namibian ever since I joined. I started leading their business. I joined on the investigative team, but then I later on led the business and economic desk, which I have been at it since early 2019 up until late September, where I took a little bit of a break out of media to focus on other endeavors. So, but it has been an incredible journey of learning, incredible journey of understanding, I think, the whole country at large as well, as it relates to, where are the activities happening, where are the business, who calls the shots in the business industry. And I think investigative-wise, it also helped us expose the country as well, who in the background call the shots that are not normally known, or who is dealing in what, which you'd normally not find in the public space. So I was super grateful for the opportunity and all that I've learned in the media industry.
So your reporting has undoubtedly made a significant impact. Could you share with our audience a memorable moment or perhaps a story that stands out from your career?
I always like this one, probably because it is the first that saw, I think, recognition at least at national level. We have had some that also got recognition at international level, but I think closer to home is always necessary because it's relatable. I think it's one story that we did on CMAS and how much they lose per year due to fraud. We published that story out of a leaked report. We had a little confirmations at some point, but really to see it that that particular news article went over, it was discussed in Parliament, which also led to the speeding up of the reforms around CMAs. I think as of late, you'd probably have seen or you've heard that CMAs is no longer really entertaining fraudulent claims from the doctors in the medical space. So that, I think, then was really one of the pieces that we really saw that there was, from the get-go, when he put out the story, there was immediate reaction and immediate action at policy space. So I think that is probably one of the pieces we'll always be able to celebrate all throughout.
Now, journalists...
we have had...
Yes, sorry. Please go ahead.
I just wanted to add that we have had incredible stories as well, all across the board around covering companies, the new green hydrogen industry. I think those are really some of the brilliant stories I think we covered over the years. Yes.
Right. Now, journalism does often come with its set of challenges, and you coming from another background, can you shed some light on some of the obstacles that you've encountered during your reporting journey?
I think probably the first one that tops everybody's agenda is probably the respect that I think the general public, firstly, and also so let's put it in threefold. So the first part would ideally be the general public, and then the either government officials, and then thirdly, sometimes companies, they tend not to put the necessary respect or give the necessary respect to the journalists. And I think it comes off partly because there's this a lot of a negative connotation that journalists always sometimes spread that which is not true. But I've also learned that when you put out something that is super credible and something that sometimes ruffle up feathers, you're always going to encounter those. So I think that's probably a few of the challenges. Other than that, I think especially when you're doing investigative, you also risk being sued, especially when there are entities or certain people that would not like what you are uncovering to be publicized. So that's also the other thing. And I think common to all media personnel across the board, it's that media is not really that of a well-paying job. So you really need to have a passion for it. It's not like you're going into media to make a whole lot of money. The money is there, but I think it's not really a thing that you need to go in and say, I'm going to make a lot of millions in media, but it's more on public service. But other than that, there weren't really, your bigger challenges that you'd say. We have that. I think that's also why as a country we've attained the #1 in press freedom on the continent. So I think challenges-wise, I think we are, at least, for a better lack of a word to say, we are, I think, safest. We don't really have major challenges that you get to see in other countries as it relates to journalism.
So having said that, how do you stay motivated and resilient in the face of adversity?
That's a very difficult question. But I think for me, being resilient, I think it obviously comes with a drive and desire to see the country prosper. So that will be one piece of inspiration. Desiring good change, desiring to hold the government or the leaders to account, calling them off when they, take the route that is ideally not appropriate, communicating, I think, ideas and also information that is super vital to the citizenry in making informed decisions. So I think those could only be the major sources of really motivation and inspiration. I think if you don't get that right, you risk the chance of either doing shallow work, or you're not gonna get the satisfaction that really comes with you being a public servant at that level of at least at the level of journalism. So that really, I think, I'd coin us to be really will be a driving force or driving inspiration and obviously commitment in all of that, yeah.
Now, Lazarus, I must ask you, how do you see the role of journalism in shaping society and fostering positive change?
I think journalism is very important. Firstly, for discourse, there's, I think, from 7 a.m. When people get into taxis, not 6 a.m. when people get into taxis, when they get to the office, the major points of discussion are always news articles. So they shape ideally the way the citizenry takes and thinks and considers and the decisions they make. So that really helps. And I think from that angle, you can really see that journalism plays a vital role in ensuring that the citizenry is informed, in ensuring that they have at least an external watchdog over public, especially leaders, that they have somebody that, as opposed to, sometimes the ministers and the president are mainly just held to account whenever they are asked certain questions in parliament. But I think with journalism, it gives that opportunity where you really see that you can call up a minister and ask him several questions around holding him to account of something that he either promised or his ministry promised or his political party promised. And you obviously relay that to the public. And also I think we also very journalists are super vital in ensuring that conspiracy theories and falsehood is kept at the minimum. When you have a strong brand, for example, like the Namibian, like NBC, something that has been published or made available to the public at that level, there's confidence in when the public consumes that news and make their decision based on that news, because they know the ethos that underpin journalism, obviously, of factuality and truth and accuracy, that they can always rely on it, as opposed to some blogger that just posts whatever they would like to post. So I think in those areas, I think that's really where journalism, I think, plays a vital role. But three key things, really: ensuring that the public is informed, playing that partly the advocacy role in holding public, civil servants, especially leaders, to account. And I think ensuring that all falsehood and conspiracy theories are stamped out. I think that's really where I see that. And exposing corruption. I almost forgot that. Exposing corruption, especially at the executive level. Those are really some of the super important things that I think journalists should always wear with pride.
Thank you, Lazarus. Thank you so much. And once again, congratulations on your award.
Thank you so much for having me.
That's Lazarus Amukeshe, who is, of course, a business and investigative journalist. He walked away with the Journalist of the Year award of the 2023 EFN Journalism Awards. The Daily Roundup will be back after this short break, so stay with us.